Hey guys, welcome back. So on my channel I have been talking a lot about low buy, debt repayment, and I've been doing a lot of exploration into the world of minimalism. For me, I think minimalism is sort of the answer to the question that I've been asking myself all of this time as I've been going through my stuff pile, trying to bring myself peace with my shopping behaviors and my impulse buying. I am not a minimalist by any means, and I don't think you can fully just declutter your way into minimalism, but slowly but surely I am really trying to embrace that lifestyle and make it work for me. So since minimalism is a new journey for me and I'm definitely no expert, these are the 10 ways that I have decided to embrace minimalism. I think what's so different about my channel is that I am sharing the process with you. I am not an expert. I am not coming here telling you how to be a minimalist, how minimalism has changed my life. I'm no guru, I'm no authority on anything, but I'm showing you how I'm getting there. And I think there's a lot of value in that process. And I think seeing the reality of how people get there and how people grapple with it emotionally and get rid of their stuff and get to know themselves better, I'm taking you with me on that. So I hope you'll stick around. So the first way that I'm embracing minimalism is I'm letting go of that idea of eating everything on my plate. And this to me is a mindset that I pretty much grew up with. We had to sit at the table until we finished everything on our plate. And even if it starts to feel uncomfortable and you have to start unbuttoning your pants, which I probably need to right now because I think these are a little bit too tight. But it's this mindset of finish everything on your plate, don't waste anything. When it comes to stuff, I think those two ideas are so tied together, and I'm really letting go of that to just sort of push myself forward into this world of less, but less being more. The second way I'm embracing minimalism is I'm really letting go of the idea of just in case. This to me has really stopped me in so many past declutters of just getting rid of the excess. The one thing that I'm realizing is that just in case thing is never gonna happen. Just in case of this wedding, just in case of this event, just in case I need this, that one outfit or that piece of clothing or whatever it is that I decide that I'm rationalizing my way into keeping, it's not gonna be the make or break thing. The thing I decided to keep just in case isn't the thing I end up using anyway, so just part with it, get rid of it. The next way I'm embracing minimalism is by just making it a habit. So one of the first things that I did to dive into the idea of minimalism is to start decluttering. You can start small by doing your junk drawer, or you can go hard to the yard and go straight into your closet and all of your problem items, whether that be books, clothes, makeup, whatever. And the way I used to do it was by just doing one huge declutter every couple of months, and it would turn into this all-day event where I would need to make sure I was caffeinated, I needed to make sure I was well fed. It would absolutely eat up my entire weekend just being absorbed in my stuff. One thing I've decided to do instead is to make minimalism and decluttering a habit. So if you find these big grand scale declutters is too overwhelming, then why not try decluttering a few things a week? You can do the mins game where you declutter one item on the first day, 3 items on the third day, 10 items on the 10th day type of thing. Or just when you come across something and you ask yourself, am I using this? Do I need this? Is this bringing value to my life? Is this bringing utility to my life? Ask yourself those questions on a routine, regular basis, and try to incorporate a little bit of decluttering and tidying, organization into your everyday. And that way it becomes a habit and you're regularly asking yourself these questions and keeping that mindset and attitude at the front of your mind. The fourth thing that I found to help me embrace minimalism is to really get honest with myself. I think ever since I started my low buy and got real with myself with how much debt I had, how much stuff I was surrounded with, I had all this stuff, but no money. I really just had to get real with myself and question what I was doing, why I was doing it, and if I wanted to do it anymore. This is really difficult and very painful to do. I think really taking the time to be honest with yourself, taking responsibility for any choices that we may have made to get us to where we are now, it's painful. It is so difficult, but so empowering and enlightening when you do start to ask yourself those questions and really start to implement that change. So ask yourself, am I ready to change? It's okay not to be ready, but if you just start asking yourself these questions, taking a breath and stepping back and looking objectively at if the decision you're about to make makes sense or if it's impulsive, or if it's actually going to harm you in the long run. Just start talking to yourself and asking yourself if you're going to be ready. A question I ask myself a lot as I go through this journey is, who am I now and who do I want to be? I think we all have things about ourselves that we want to improve or change, and hopefully most of that comes from a positive and healthy place. But really thinking about the person that I want to be and the value systems that I want to live by, I really want to ask myself what that is and how exactly I am going to become that person. There are changes that we need to implement and habits that we need to build in order to get there. And it's a question of, are you willing to make those changes to become that vision of yourself that you see in the future? Like a way that I can really tie this example in is, I would shop on an everyday basis. Packages would be coming in weekly. I'd be hiding them from my boyfriend. I would lie when people asked me if something was new. I would say it was old. I was doing all of these behaviors that I thought I had the money to maintain because I had a good income. And I would keep telling people, oh, it'll be two more years for me to pay off my debt. We're gonna start looking to buy in 5 years. In 5 years, we'll be ready. I would do nothing. I would do zero in order to actually achieve those goals, like saving money, making sacrifices, building a budget. I refused to do that. And I would just continue to indulge in all of these shopping and impulse buying and stuff acquiring behaviors without a plan, until I really one day asked myself, how am I really going to do this? How am I going to become a homeowner if I have no money? How am I going to travel the world if I have a closet full of clothes and that's it? How am I going to quit my job and start my full-time business without a proper emergency fund? I had all of these visions of myself, but no plan in how I was going to get there. And I really had to start questioning that and really taking action on the vision that I had of myself. So ask yourself who you are now and who you want to be, and really take a step back and look at how exactly you're going to get there, because thoughts need actions in order to achieve those goals. This next way that I embrace minimalism kind of goes into my low buy questions, low buy rules, but this is a new one that I've started implementing this year, and it's asking myself, am I willing to part with 2 or 3 things now in order to bring this new thing in? I'm going to talk about this in the context of closet because that's the main issue for me, and I think always will be the focus, but making sure you're continuously editing your space, decluttering on a regular basis. But when you're ready to physically bring in something new, are you willing to get rid of 1, 2, or even 3 pieces to make room for this thing? If you don't do that, then that's just how things reaccumulate over time. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've done a closet declutter. There's plenty on my channel for you guys to see. Things just ended up reaccumulating because I would accept gifts, things would come in for collaborations that I would end up keeping. So any space that I created for myself ended up being filled. And remember that just because there is space doesn't mean that you need to fill it up with something. There's value in negative space and peace and calm in that. The only way that you keep your closet or your drawers from exploding all over again after you've spent all that time and energy decluttering is by continuously decluttering and making sure you're actually taking things out before you bring in something new. Otherwise, it's just gonna pile up again. The 7th tip I have for you to embrace minimalism is to simply embrace change. Change is scary, change sucks. We are so resistant to change. We love our little bubbles, our comfort zones. Anything that we bring into that sort of shakes that up is scary and it's uncomfortable. I think a lot of this year in my low buy, I was more grappling with being okay with bringing stuff in and being okay with the decision to buy something and to spend that money. And I think I needed to go through those steps in order to not knock myself down every time I did decide to spend money or buy something new. But the change that I'm embracing now is just being okay with having less and being okay with having what I have and being okay with letting go of things that I'm not using, regardless of how much I spent on them, regardless of how much I love them. If it's taking up space and causing me stress and just acting as clutter and just there, then I just don't want it around anymore. So embrace the change, embrace letting go, embrace how freeing that feels and how light it is, because it really does it changes your perspective and it changes your stride and your confidence in the sense that you don't need all these things to define who you are as a person and to communicate who you are. I think there's a lot of value in that, in personal style, in reading books and having a music collection, but it doesn't elevate who you are and what you have to offer and what value you have. So embrace the change. Tip number 8 that has helped me embrace minimalism is to realize that no one really gives a shit. This is more talking about clothing, but ever notice how a compliment about your outfit maybe lasts less than 5 seconds? Like you walk into a room, maybe somebody says, "Oh my God, I love your outfit. Where'd you get those pants?" And you tell them, and then it's over. On to the next thing, on to the conversation. That's it. It's awesome to be recognized, and it's awesome to be told that you look good and get a compliment and all of that stuff. But the fact that that moment is a fleeting 5 seconds really made me realize how little anybody really cares. No one has put their value on our friendship, on what my outfit is and what I'm wearing. That value comes from me, and no one really cares about what you're wearing as much as you do. I think if you ended up wearing the same thing to work every single day, you're not gonna hear that. No one's gonna ask, no one's gonna notice, because everyone's too concerned with what's going on in their own lives. And they're also concerned with just you and working with you and what it's like to work with you and what it's like to talk to you and what it's like for you to be a friend. It's those intangible things that elevate those relationships, not your blazer. Tip number 9 is to recognize that this is not all or nothing. Minimalism is a process, it's a lifestyle change. It is not something that happens overnight. Unless you do one of those packing parties like Josh and Ryan talk about from The Minimalists, but even that, it's still a process to be able to get to that point, to have the courage and confidence and even lack of caring to get to that point. There's so much learning that comes after that, after all of the stuff is gone, and so much self-realization and introspection that comes when you are starting to get rid of all of the things. And this is something that I am really working to be self-compassionate about and to give myself the grace to realize that maybe I do decide to keep this thing, and I'm trying to let go of that sentiment or that feeling of what if and embrace the change. But sometimes it's hard, and sometimes I'm not going to do that 100% of the time. You have to be able to give yourself that space and that leniency to be okay with that. This is a process, and it doesn't happen overnight, and the benefits are not gleaned overnight. Some days are just going to be more difficult than others. Some days you're going to be really ruthless and ready to let go, and other days you're going to hold on to things, and that's okay. It takes time. There's value in that process, so let yourself go through it. And the last tip I have for you to help embrace minimalism is recognize that this is your journey and these are your rules, not anybody else's. Minimalism doesn't have to look just one way. It doesn't have to be that guy that carries his whole life on his back. Minimalism looks different to everybody, but I think it's the value system and the attitude and the detachment from stuff being more than just that is key. Somebody said this really well in one of the comments in one of my videos a little bit back, and it has always really stood out to me. She said, "Yay for minimalism being a way of living and not just for an aesthetic." And I think that says it all to me. These are all of your rules, and there's no right or wrong way to do this. Just because your house doesn't have all white walls and black and white furniture, and just because your closet is not 36 pieces or less, it does not mean that you're not a minimalist and that you're not embracing that lifestyle. I think minimalism is a means to find out who you are, what your relationship is with things and people around you, and how to sort of dictate your own rules. Minimalism for me really helps me reevaluate my relationship to comparing myself to others, to keeping up with the Joneses. It keeps me motivated on top of paying off my student loan, and it keeps my blinders on in terms of my goals. And it also has really just helped me in my journey of self-compassion and even my personal style journey, just because I was putting so much value on these external things and these external accomplishments that I didn't even know if I wanted them for myself. It's your journey without judgment, especially without judgment for yourself. So those are my 10 tips that have been helping me embrace minimalism a little bit more and sort of let go of the idea if I'm doing something right or if I'm doing something wrong. I think this is a process. It is a slow and steady journey, and the true benefit is not really a competition to see who has the least and who can declutter the most. It's to figure out who you are and your relationship with the things and people around you. So I hope this video helped you guys. Leave this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and don't forget to hit subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. I talk about minimalism, low buy, money. We're doing it all on this channel. Thank you guys again so much for watching. watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.